We're using a 12-aught hook, egg sinker, and number 15 Malin wire. Again, you can see that our mackerel has the belly section slit open. And our first step here is going to be, rather than using a boning tube, we're going to break the backbone in 3 or 4 places. We do that by sliding the knife in along the backbone and merely cutting through it. Bend your bait back and forth in those positions and it will clearly break through. Final break you want to make is the tail. Just merely snap it. Now you can see that we have a nice limber bait which should troll perfectly. Our single wire will be inserted directly through the top of the head. Before we do that, we take our hook, which is 12-aught as I mentioned, and we push it right up through so that the eye of the hook lays right on his tongue. Once we've positioned it, we're going to push our wire through his head, through the eye of the hook, and directly down between his gill plates. And once we've pushed that wire through, we're going to slide our egg sinker and leave enough wire to deal with to make your twist. Your first twist should come very close to the egg sinker, and now we begin twisting our wire. I like to twist a little bit longer finished twist than I normally would because I've got such a large loop with the weight and eye of the hook. And in this instance, I'm wrapping my twists very close together. And that's strictly a matter of preference. Some people prefer their wraps to be spaced. Some like them very tight. And now we'll begin the barrel at the top. 3 or 4 times around is more than adequate. You want to ensure that in doing this you do it very slowly. You don't want to feel any heat or warmth being able to come through to your fingertips. Form an L, push it back against the wire in a circular motion, and snap it right off. At this point you want to straighten your twist out, make sure it pulls straight off his nose. Our next step is going to be to sew up the belly cavity. And again, we're going to use single stitches. The first stitch will be right behind the hook, going underneath the ventral fins. Simple. And you can see here we've closed the belly up from the anus forward 3 positions to the hook. Our next step is going to be again to close up the gill plates. Single stitch, overhand knot, cut it off. Final step in rigging any swimming bait is to make very sure that you've closed the mouth up. We're going to do that here by 1 single stitch through the bottom of his mouth, right up through the top of his head. Simple overhand knot. What this does is closes the mouth up and stops any flow of water from going through his mouth. We don't want that water flow because it destroys the meat and deteriorates our bait short period of time. This bait, we should be able to get a full day of trolling out of this bait also. And we have our finished product. As you can see here, we're approaching a school of fish that are running very, very light. You'll begin picking them up in the left-hand corner here of the screen. They're running perhaps 2 feet below the surface and not giving us too much of a look, but you now begin to pick them up a little sharper. Very light, running against the sea. These fish were found just on the outskirts of those whales. Now you can see them really starting to push up some water and changing direction, and here's a fish that's just rolled.